We have Matt Schroll here from the Philadelphia Union. He's the director of inside sales. Matt's experience in sales has kind of led him to many different ways where resilience has played a role in his development as a professional and personal in his life. So he's going to discuss really resilience as a whole and then how it's played that role in his life and how to handle that as a manager and director of people who work in sales. So here you go, Matt.
For sure. So resilience is the idea of like getting back up after you've been knocked down or bouncing back. Those are, very common in the sales industry. Obviously, you probably have heard the stats that in sales you get told no 90% of the time, right? 97% of the time, probably to be exact, right? So you think about it, it's very hard to go through the day, no, getting told no all the time, day after day, keeping that mindset fresh. For resilience on that aspect, you have to kind of turn your mindset around a little bit, right? So for us, statistics say that out of every 10 outbound calls somebody on our team makes, one time they're going to get a good call, right? And by that I mean like somebody's going to actually pick up. I know I've gotten several calls on my cell phone where I don't know the number and I'll just decline it and not go through it. So we kind of face that battle. So statistics say 1 out of every 10 times somebody's going to answer. So for us, you have to change that mindset of every time you get told no or every time somebody doesn't pick up, you're actually one step closer to getting that good call. So that's kind of the big idea of resilience there for us is you're going to get told no a lot. You're going to get hit with a lot of rejections and objections on different things with sales products. So kind of staying fresh with your mindset to handle all that stuff is a big key for us. That's on the ticket sales side, I guess, for resilience there.
Yeah, so you talk about mindset and resilience. So how does that translate out of work? So someone has a bad day, they go over 10, over 20 maybe. How do you keep them as a manager focused on being resilient to come back the next day and knock it out? And vice versa. I mean, let's say they're going through something at home, how do they come into work, kind of check their mindset at the door, and then, show that they can be resilient no matter what's going on?
So the great thing I learned as a manager is everybody's completely different.
Mm-hmm.
So you're never going to once get one person that handles it correct way as the same person as the next, which is great because that's a great opportunity for manager or director at that point. But in sales or whatever industry you're going to be in, it's going to be like a roller coaster, right? There's going to be great days, there's going to be bad days, there's going to be in-between days. So the idea is kind of remembering the idea of like never get too high, never get too low on an idea, and always kind of being humble but excited about things. So for us on the sales side of things with the union, if somebody has a bad day at work or somebody has a bad day at home, they're coming in the next day, motivation's key. So like every morning we'll do something to kind of get motivated, to get everybody on track and focused. You're going to have bad days. It's always going to happen. I don't care what industry you're in. I don't care what job you're in. There's going to be days where things don't go your way. And keeping that mindset of like, that's all right. I'll get them tomorrow. I always hear on Major League Baseball telecasts that good news is you got, pummeled today, but there's a game tomorrow, right? Kind of have that same mindset with the ticket sales. You can always kind of get back at it tomorrow, even if something went wrong. You just have to always remember, like, the worst thing somebody's going to tell you at the end of the day is like, no, I don't want to buy your product. They might do it in a viciously annoying way where they just, rip you on the phone or in person, but at the end of the day, they're just telling you no, and understand that, like, selling whatever your product is might not be for everybody. So just having that mindset and keeping your mental capacity in check of basically saying like, that's all right. Again, going back to the idea of like, they said no, great, that means I'm one step closer to a yes in terms of that time frame, with whether it's 10 calls or 100 appointments, whatever it is. Anybody saying no or getting very upset about a product or something like that, we're just one step closer to a yes, right? We'll fix any of those problems, but having that mental mindset to get back into it and get back on the saddle and keep going is a big one for us.
Yeah, so that same advice bodes well for anyone in job searching, right?
Correct.
So they're going to hear a bunch of no's, and all really they need is one yes, because that's their job, and that'll start their career. So I think that's really good advice for the students to take out of this. Let's talk about you a little bit with your experience, whether it's personal, professional, you played college football. What was a resilient moment that you had where you had to get knocked down? Maybe there's a couple, but can you just kind of, let's end on that note of a good story.
Yeah, so for sure. So I'll get to the good story in a second, but in terms of like applying for jobs, you're going to get told no a lot. I went through like 65 some job applications before I landed on my feet with Indiana Pacers. and haven't looked back since. So just keep going, or whatever you're going to do, you got to keep going. There's going to be bad interviews, there's going to be bad applications. It's going to happen, but just keep going. In terms of a good story, I played football. In college, we won 3 games in 4 years when I was there. All 3 games that I won were against the exact same team. So you want to talk about being resilient and building character? Do 4 years of football where you win 1 game at best every season. So I can tell you in my personal life, staying resilient, it's just looking at it as I get the opportunity to do something that a lot of people don't get to do, and that was play college football. Now I get to do an opportunity a lot of people don't get to do, and that's work for a professional sports team. And keeping that mindset of hey, things are going to come in your way. There's going to be roadblocks. There's going to be adversity, but handling it with poise and ready to attack and go back at it. That's a big one for me there.
Good. So I think that's a great way to end. Hopefully you guys can take some advice that Matt gave you into your own life. Whether you're going through job searching, you're not currently happy with your job, or you're doing some sales yourself and you're running into some roadblocks. I think this is the opportunity for you guys to understand what resilience means, how a real life example could relate to the professional one, and hopefully you guys don't run into the football analogy, but you run into some success because you were resilient. Thank you, Matt.
You bet.